Well, I showed up at Lowry at the temporary Air Force Academy up there, and we came in on Friday, July the 5th, 1957. Well, the Air Force Academy was very formative for me. I learned about air power. That's what they wanted us to learn about, to appreciate air power, leadership, knowledge of the Air Force, how to get along in it, how to deal with people. You fall back on that all the time. The Air Force Academy also instilled the need for absolute integrity. It's the bedrock of any set of human relationships. We practice that all the time here. The honor code, we will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate among us those who do, was in full effect. So we were very, very conscious of the need for the truth throughout. Well, the absolutely most difficult thing was time management. There was an untold number of things one had to get done, and perfectly, in no time. And the other was dealing with difficult people. The ATOs and the upper class cadets and a lot of the instructors intended to be very difficult. But learning to deal with very difficult people was very valuable. And that was one of the most big challenges we had. It tailored my expectations on how to treat people because I knew how I would come across in a boss mode. So that's affected my whole career, both in civilian life as well as in the military, to help me be a better leader, remembering how I reacted to the leadership I encountered, some of which was wonderful and some was not. Well, the Air Force Academy emphasized you got to focus on the mission. It also emphasized you got to do your best at everything you pick up, all the time. There's never a time to do a sloppy job in anything. And I think those traits carried over, and that's the way I approach all my professional life. When I went to pilot training, we had TACAN and occasional airplane, but mostly you just had what we called a bird dog. It was an analog radio that had a needle that pointed to where the signal appeared to come from. Today, I have a grandson that's flying the Osprey, which is a tilt rotor airplane. We got to walk through the airplane this year, and it's got every conceivable modern navigation aid on that airplane, the modern armament. I got to fly in the C-130 gunship test program in 1971. It was the first digitally fire control system with a digital computer on board. We had used analog computers at the Academy. We had also had digital computers, but we were using both. The transition was occurring. And I don't know if you can find an analog computer today anywhere. Your cell phone has a bigger computer in it than the Academy had for its mainframe in those days, and it took up a room twice the size of this library. And it had a whopping 32 kilobytes of memory, 32K of memory. Today you worry about terabytes and gigabytes, not kilobytes. When I got here in 1969 to teach, I'd been elected a board member, and one of the first things we had to deal with was, do we need a war memorial? We got guys dying in the war, let's produce a war memorial. The war memorial that sits in the cadet area was the first thing that we accomplished at that time. So we started off pretty small, but we had big dreams. We planned ahead for an awful lot of things. In the early 70s, we had a committee to create the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy, but later, while I was the AOG president, the Navy had won it several times in a row, and we had not. We finally won it in the fall of, must have been '82. But it had not been presented by the president in quite a while. So we had a grad from '67, I think. Eric Thorson was a fairly senior civilian official in the government in Washington. So I got in touch with him, and he put me in touch with the White House, and we arranged to have the president present the trophy. Well, I've already talked about the fact that the kids coming out of the Academy today have done a whole lot more than I did while I was there. They just had to. There's more to do. But the key to their success, I think, will be to have absolute integrity. It's very difficult to have in this modern day and age, I believe, but that's the key. They're also to do their best on every assignment. Everything they attempt, they have to do their best. And I think they want to strive to be the boss. Most won't become the boss. But if you try to look at it from the boss's perspective, the boss is responsible for the whole job. I never got to be a big commander, but I did command the 2nd Cadet Group with 1,100 cadets, and I was a professor and head of a fairly big department. We had Comp Sci, Astronautics, and we had the Faculty Computing Center all under that department when I took over. So that worked out quite well. I think having a forward-looking attitude based on integrity will get these cadets off on a good start.